What is up, YouTube? It is Jason or Jared here, back at it again with another video for you guys. This time it is the best of 2022. We're doing our top 10 movies of the year. I hope you guys had a wonderful, happy new year. We're getting into the top 10 of 2022, guys. So let's go ahead and get right into it. If you guys do like the video, make sure to subscribe, like down below, comment your top 10 of the year below. I'm curious to see what your guys' favorite movies were. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. At my number 10 spot, I have X, directed by Ty West. When I first saw this movie, I actually didn't like it that much, surprisingly enough. I just found it to be kind of run-of-the-mill horror with a great 80s vibe. It did have very great attributes to it. Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, both great actresses in the movie. I was really a big fan of them too in the film. But besides the performances and the nice 80s vibe, I didn't really get the I guess whole story. I mean, the story's pretty basic. I mean, they go to the farm and bad shit happens when they try and film a porno. But I didn't get the more significance to it that it had in regards to the prequel film that also came out this year, which I'll talk about after. But I ended up really enjoying X with the prequel film in context, and I thought that it had some great performances and was a standout horror film of the year, so it has to get my number 10 spot. Number 9, we have The Whale, directed by Darren Aronofsky, starring Brendan Fraser. This movie, I do have a review of this movie actually on my channel. It was one of the first reviews I have actually done. This movie was fantastic. I thought this movie was awesome. It was filled with fantastic performances. Very emotional film that definitely left me with some teary eyes going out of the theater on this one. But it was a fantastic film. Just the performances alone, I had to give it my number 9 spot because of how great they were. And it also had a fantastic storyline just about family and being able to reconnect with others and seeing the good in people, even though they may seem like a terrible person. But The Whale was very good. It definitely deserves my number 9 spot. Number 8, we actually have Babylon, directed by Damien Chazelle. I just reviewed on this one on my channel too. This one I was a huge fan of just because of its ode to film and cinema, and the performances in this one were fantastic as well. But just the film and how it looks, the essence of the movie and the performances that the actors gave. As a film lover, I definitely was able to connect with this film. And definitely it let me see the light into the old film industry and kind of maybe how some things worked back then in that day, even though some things may have been over dramatized in the film, obviously maybe for comedic effect, but I was still able to kind of see the technicalities and some of the difficulties and hardships that these actors, directors, and just the industry as a whole would have had doing that transition into talking cinema. But I found Babylon to be absolutely fantastic. If you guys want to know more about my thoughts on that one, definitely check out the review up here. Coming in at number 7, we have Smile. Smile is directed by Parker Finn, and this one actually came out in September of this year. We got Smile and another film on this list in the same month, which was absolutely awesome. I couldn't believe how much great horror we were getting in the month of September. With Smile, I found it to be a very effective horror thriller with absolutely awesome jump scares. I hadn't seen a horror movie in theaters that had given me that many jump scares at that point. It was hard to remember a movie that had scared me actually with jump scares that effectively in a long time. But with Smile, I found it to also be very entertaining and also have great takes on mental health and a very horrific way of looking at how one's mental health may consume themselves as well. But without getting into spoilers, definitely go watch Smile. Definitely worth the watch, and it's a scary one for sure. Number 6 is Top Gun Maverick. This is directed by Joseph Kosinski, and this one also stars obviously Tom Cruise. Glenn Powell's also in the movie, and he's fantastic. We also get to see Val Kilmer in the film as well. Top Gun Maverick was an absolute blast. As everyone knows, this brought back cinema. This brought back the first cinematic movie this year that we were able to all go to the movies and watch collectively and be like, holy crap, that was an awesome movie. Definitely blockbuster cinema for the summer coming back from Tom Cruise right there. But besides it being blockbuster and cinematic, the story was also great. Joseph Kosinski has a way of bringing back these old storylines and kind of making an effective sequel out of them. He did the same thing with Tron Legacy not too long ago, kind of revamping it for a sequel from the original Tron back in the 1980s. But this was a really, really awesome sequel to Top Gun. I did watch the first Top Gun. I thought it was good. It was a good retro movie. It definitely wasn't, fantastic or anything by my standards. But Top Gun Maverick I found to be very, very good, with action flight sequences that were absolutely out of this world, and it used IMAX cameras, which is just another A+ for me. But yes, Top Gun Maverick, definitely go see it. Or if you haven't seen it already, pick it up on 4K. It's definitely, it's got to have a nice 4K Atmos track for sure. Number 5, and I actually just saw this again last night in high frame rate 3D, Avatar: The Way of Water. I waited for this movie for 13 years, and let me say, was it worth the freaking wait? It was an absolutely fantastic film with visuals that were breathtaking and out of this world. I'm sitting here watching this movie thinking, how did he do it? How did James Cameron do it? He did it again, but how? How did he do it? Avatar: The Way of Water not only boasts impressive visuals, but it also gives a very, very niche take on action cinema. You can't do action cinema like this with any other film. We've seen CGI with Transformers, with the Marvel films, but when has a director taken it on the level that James Cameron has with Avatar, with the extensiveness of the mocap and the detail to the computer generated effects that we're seeing on screen? Comparing it to my IMAX 3D screening that I first saw, looked beautiful in IMAX 3D, but when I did see it in high frame rate 3D Dolby Atmos, it was like an entire new experience. It was absolutely awesome. I definitely recommend seeing it in the high frame rate 3D if you can, but I also hear a lot of bad things about high frame rate from people, just because they say it makes them dizzy, or they say that it looks soap opera-y, or it gives the soap opera effect. I didn't really have a problem with this. I found it to be awesome when he would change the variable frame rate through the movie, so when you did get those more emotional close-up scenes, you were able to see those, and it didn't have that soap opera effect. Rather, in regards to the action scenes, which it benefited from the high frame rate in the action scenes, it made them look smooth and absolutely awesome, it was like you were freaking there. But Avatar: The Way of Water, I should make a separate review on it, because I could go rambling about that forever, but I waited 13 years for that movie. It's number 5 on the list because it was freaking awesome. Go see that in high frame rate 3D. And we're on our way to 2 billion, boys. Don't doubt James Cameron. Coming in at number 4, we have Nope, directed by Jordan Peele. Nope is still a film that I have to rewatch to this day. I have to rewatch it just because Nope has so many different elements to it that contribute to its overall theme and overall meaning. And I really think that Jordan Peele, there's some quotes that I could probably pull to support this, but he really wants the viewer to interpret their own meaning from the film, and I think that's an awesome thing to do. But it's also it's hard because there could be so many different meanings, and I do think that is awesome. I think that's a great part of his movies. I think Nope was absolutely fantastic, though. The movie was an awesome movie to see on an IMAX screen. The visuals were absolutely spectacular, and I thought that it definitely was a movie that I could show to my kid once they're a little bit older, and have it be one of their first horror movies that they watch, because it has that element to it. It does have that classic aspect to it, in my opinion, and it has elements from other films that it kind of pays homage to, and it does a great job at that. I think it is a very different film from his other films, don't get me wrong, but I think it is in a great way. Coming in at number 3 is The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves. And this movie, I think I saw it like 4 or 5 times in the theater. I kid you not, I probably saw it 4 or 5 times. This movie was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. I am a huge fan of the Dark Knight movies and Christopher Nolan in general, as I stated in my Oppenheimer analysis. So for someone to come and take Batman and try and give it a new story and kind of revive the series from what Christopher Nolan did, not that I was going into it expecting the same thing, but I was expecting something new and something that was still great to Batman's story. And I feel like we definitely got an awesome film from Matt Reeves. Just the look of the film was great. He did fantastic on capturing the aspects of Gotham City in his own way. And I definitely feel that Matt Reeves has a special take on Batman, and Robert Pattinson did fantastic in his role. Also, we had Colin Farrell as the Penguin, who was absolutely awesome. The facial makeup on him was absolutely fantastic. The aspects to this movie totally being more of Batman's detective side, I thought was really awesome, and I think Matt Reeves explored it greatly. This was one of my favorite movies of the year. So, moving on to our top 2 of the year of 2022. For my second film, I do have Pearl at number 2. Pearl is also directed by Ty West and is the prequel to X, and also stars Mia Goth as well. Mia Goth plays Pearl in this film. She also played the murderous older woman that was in X, who later in the movie, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, skip this part, it was also played as Pearl in X. So this for me, it sold the whole idea for me. Sold the whole idea. Mia Goth's performance as Pearl in this movie was absolutely astounding. It was fantastic. She has like an 8 or 10 minute monologue scene that is just out of this world, and I think should be studied. I think it should be it definitely should be studied and reviewed and looked at in regards to acting and film, because she puts on this amazing role that sells the performance of you caring about an absolute savage killer. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But in regards to Ty West directing, the directing was on point with this one. Comparing it to X, because it is a prequel, I just feel like it works so much. And watching this in regards to that film, it sells the whole idea and whole storyline that is going on within this horror tragedy. And with that being said, Pearl is a fantastic film filled with fantastic performances. Her mother, who is played by Tandy Wright in the film, I believe her name is Ruth in the film, she was absolutely fantastic as well. And just the roles in this movie and the storyline of Pearl was fantastic on Ty West's end. And him and Mia Goth, I believe, worked closely together on this movie, and they did a fantastic job. And I absolutely can't wait for the sequel to X, Maxine, that is supposed to, I believe, come out hopefully later this year, but if not 2024, but I really hope we get it this year. But number 2 on my list, Pearl, definitely go watch it. I own this one on Blu-ray. I really hope I can get a 4K version of it, and it was absolutely fantastic. Alrighty, so number 1 on my list, I had actually mentioned this movie in my review of The Whale. I said there was one other movie that made me freaking sob in the theater, but was also absolutely amazing and just a full-blown, absolutely awesome theater experience. Everything Everywhere All at Once was directed by the Daniels, and it also stars Michelle Yeoh as this woman who simply is just trying to do her taxes, but overcomes a lot of issues that we commonly face just in one day. And this movie was absolutely fantastic. I was waiting on a movie that was going to amaze me and fascinate me as much as when I saw Interstellar back in 2014 when it released. And for this movie to go see it in IMAX, I believe it was about a month early before it came out, I was absolutely floored. I saw it in a packed theater full of people, and I didn't know what to expect because I watched the trailer, and the trailer kind of sells it as this kind of science fiction film about, going through the multiverse and, there being multiple versions of this person that we're watching as our protagonist. But in regards to that was all that I knew about the plot. And going into the film, it absolutely transcends you onto a story about multiple things, about forgiveness, about contentness, about just a bunch of different things, and really gives you a full-blown perspective on appreciating, I guess I would say, life in general. In regards to the film, I thought it was an absolutely transcending film that was including everything you needed in a movie. It was comedic, it was filled with drama, it was filled with action, filled with great performances as well. This movie is definitely a one-in-a-kind type movie as well. If you're able to grasp a part of the concept and kind of give it a meaning to yourself, you will definitely be able to relate to these characters and be able to resonate with the film's theme. Everything Everywhere All at Once is just a fantastic film. I can't say anything more about it. You definitely have to go watch it to experience it. I was lucky enough to see it on an IMAX screen. I think it was about a month early before it came out, like I said. And it was just a fantastic experience. And it was definitely why you go to the movie theater to watch a movie. So therefore, it is my number one film of 2022. But with that being said, guys, that wraps the best of 2022. I'm excited for 2023, guys. I can't wait to review a bunch of different movies on the channel. So if you are new, definitely hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be reviewing a bunch more. We'll do some reactions. We'll do a couple of different videos just on movies in general. So if you're interested in that, definitely hit the subscribe button, like the video down below. What's your top 10 of 2022? Definitely comment that down below. I may make a worst of 2022 as well, so definitely look out for that video. And with that said, guys, I will see you for the Megan review this weekend. Take care.